Hi, I'm Summer.
And I'm Mike.
And we got married.
With children.
We're going on 2 years of marriage.
But we've been together for 10.
He brought 2.
She brought 2.
Together, that's 4 kids.
That's way too many kids.
And we want to share what works for us.
And what doesn't.
For step-parents, co-parents, marriage, being your best self, managing work, family, friends, health. We're going to talk about
everything.
You ready, babe?
Always.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Everything Always podcast episode. I was just singing for you. I hope you enjoyed that. I maybe should go back and cut that out, but I'm going to leave it for you because why not? So today it's just me, and I wanted to go over some things with you that I think would be super helpful, especially if you are a listener that is thinking about or about to make the plunge into blending your family. And what I mean by this is that you are maybe in a relationship or have been in a relationship for a while, but you're not quite living together, you're not married, you're not totally blended, where you're all living together under the same roof. And there are some things that Mike and I have absolutely learned, things we did right, things we should have done ahead of time. And if I can save you some trouble, I'd love to go through those things with you that I believe are 5 really important things that you and your spouse should be clear on before blending. And I hate using the word should, and I know that I do. I don't mean to point fingers and say, you need to do this. Basically, I'm saying that these things are super helpful to know and be on the same page about, because it really helps create a foundation for you as a couple. And if you are doing this whole blending the family thing, you guys are controlling the ship here. You know what I mean? You are the captains. And so you've got to be on the same page. You got to make sure that things are operating as smoothly as possible and that you know what to do when those storms hit. I put these things together because they were very important to me and us, and help a lot. And I know would have helped had we really had all of these nailed down. And I think we had some of these and we talked about some of them, but really the foundation was probably continuing to be built more strongly after storms hit. We realized, oh crap, we need to really figure out some of these things. So let's get into it, okay? There are 5 different things, and I'm just going to spill them out. So number 1 is being clear on how you're going to make your relationship a priority. And Mike and I have talked about this on the podcast before. It's so important because it's you guys together, and you are the example, and you are the adults above all. But what are you going to do to make sure that neither of you are feeling like you're not a priority, or that neither of you are feeling neglected? Because the more that you can give to each other, the more that you are fueled and energized and ready to take on whatever is thrown at you. And in the beginning, when you're dating somebody and there's children involved, you're mostly doing dates probably when kids aren't around. You might have done play dates and things as they start to meet up, or for us, that's how it was. But we were really having dates when neither of us had our kids, or there was a babysitter, or we were doing something where it was just the 2 of us. And so we were giving each other all of the attention, and it feels awesome. And you've got the butterflies, and it's so great. And you don't have anybody pulling your jacket going, Mommy, I need to go to the bathroom. It's just the 2 of you together, loving on each other. And then you start to get a hint of it when you are all out together with kids. Maybe you've tried a trip together, or a day trip, or an outing, or an amusement park, and you start to feel little strains oh, well, now he's giving all of his attention to her or him, or she's all wrapped up in her daughter or son. And of course that's going to happen because we're parents, right? So it's easy to start to feel hey, I'm not getting enough of attention. And that's when problems can really pop up. So really decide what it looks like for you to make each other a priority, and how you're going to make that relationship strong so that you feel loved, you feel adored, you feel all of those good things that you felt in the beginning. So whatever that means for you, if that means you have to have a weekly date, if that means you have certain weekend getaways where it's just the two of you, is it like a meetup at every single night? Mike and I will do like let's take, this amount of time. If we do have all the kids, let's just take this amount of time and like catch up with each other. Tell me what was awesome about your day. Tell me what sucked. How can I help? All those things. And just make sure that you are staying connected. It's so important. So number one, how will you continue to make your relationship a priority? Number two, there's going to be drama with the kids. It's inevitable. I don't care even when you have just your biological children together, there's drama. Sometimes they love each other, sometimes they're fighting. It's just being human and living together. So what can you do together as a couple to make sure that the kids continue to feel safe and secure? And this is a big one for me, is help them feel empowered, because they are going to have moments where they don't feel any of those things. And of course, they're going to feel that way because their life has already been changing so much. If you were dating, if there was divorce, if it's however you got to the situation you're at, they've had lots of change going on, and that automatically can make them feel insecure. And what's so important is to think about what are the roots that you are instilling into your family, and to talk about that with your spouse. So what will our kids feel when they're now living all together? Will some of them have to share a room? Will they have to share a bathroom? Will they not get to see me as much because we've got all the kids together? Are they going to get enough alone time with each of us? All of those things. It's coming up with, how are you going to make sure that they feel secure? So what are like the boundaries that you're going to have to put in place? What are the tools that you're going to put in place? Are you going to have, date nights with your daughter or son, stepdaughter, stepson? Are you going to make sure that you have family meetings where everybody gets to talk about what they're feeling? Or maybe little check-ins like, hey, just wanted to pull you to the side for 15 minutes to find out, like, how are you feeling about all of this? What's going on in your mind? Because even doing those things, you're still going to get high emotion, because there's high emotion just in growing up as a human anyways. So there's going to be teen stuff. There's going to be the back and forth, switching different houses that can feel overwhelming. There's a lot of things that come up. So what can you do as parents to really create those roots and that feeling of security, and make this new family something that they know they are safe and secure in, while at the same time allowing them to feel empowered to express their opinion and be the wonderful little humans that they want to be and do all the fun things that they want to be. So deciding on that together, because it can be a big problem when you just deal with it on the fly, because there can be a big outburst. There can be sibling rivalry happening, and all of a sudden you guys realize you're not on the same page. So what are those things? What rules do you need to set in place? What's your parenting style together? Who's going to be in charge of disciplining which kids, or who's going to be in charge of making sure kids do this or that? Is it both of you? All of those things. Those are the things that create that security within your home.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for taking a chance on us and listening to our podcast. Our goal is for you to not only learn from us, but to learn with us. We've taken a leap on being pretty open about our blended family and how we do life in everything. We want to make sure we bring you all the things you want to hear, always. So please, if you have specific questions like, how do I get along with my ex? Or how do I get along with his ex? Or how do I set some boundaries in place? Or why doesn't my stepson like me? Please email us with your questions. Email them to info@summerfelix.com, because we want to answer those questions, and we aim to bring you the best guests and conversations to address your most burning issues about everything, always.
Number 3, finances. Nobody likes to talk about finances. It's so uncomfortable, and it doesn't need to be, but it is. It just is. But I can tell you that the faster you talk about that and have an understanding of who's contributing what does our financial situation look like? Am I paying for this and you're paying for that? When it comes to kid activities, are we just going to stay responsible for our bio kids, or are we just pooling it together and we're in it together? What is your agreement? Nothing is right or wrong, in my opinion. What helps is to be on the same page about it, because then you don't have fires or hurt feelings, or you're contributing more and so it makes me feel bad, or I'm contributing more and I feel taken advantage of. There's so many things that can ensue, and it doesn't need to. So just be clear on that, come together and say, what is this going to look like for us? And especially if you're getting married, then there's a whole other list of things. It is, I will say from personal experience, it is quite different than being married to the person that you have your biological children with. There's different things that are in place when you marry somebody who has kids or is not the other biological parent of your kids. Different things definitely take place. I mean, you might still be on different insurance plans. You might have different education funds in place, or, one person has to pay child support, the other doesn't. Does this mean I have to help you with that? Like, there's just so many questions that will come up. Sometimes you might think it's a better idea not to have joint accounts, or maybe we like to have one joint account where we pay bills out of. Whatever that is, just be clear on it with each other. I promise you, going into this situation with having that laid out is going to save so much drama. Number four is, what will your living situation be? So you're either going to be getting a new place together, or perhaps you are going to move into one person's place or the other person's place. What are the feelings involved there? You might be moving into a place that he lived in with his ex-wife. How does that make you feel? If you're totally cool with that, maybe we'll do a little renovation. It'll feel like new. Or, I've seen situations where the man is moving into the house that his now current spouse, they're blending together, but she lived in that house with her ex-husband and he was really not digging it. He's kind of like, you know what? I just feel uncomfortable here. You were here with somebody else. That's okay. But talk about all of those things. Talk about it with the kids. Hey, would it be cool if what do you think about getting a new place together? What do you think about this these kids moving into our home that we've had here? There's so many different things and feelings that are going to come up. So communicate about it. And know that you're all on the same page before you make that move. Are two kids going to be sharing a room? Who's going to get their own room? What's that whole situation going to look like? Be clear before blending. And then finally, number 5, ask, what are you going to do consistently as a family to build tradition? You're all going to have had tradition. The kids will have tradition that existed before. But now that you are a family together, a new family that is blending, it's different, but it's still a family. And you want this family to work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this. You want things to be harmonious. And so think about the things that you can do on a consistent basis to build tradition. And some of those things might be, an outing that you all do together. We like to do that, like something where we are all together doing a trip, something as often as we can. There's so many busy schedules, especially as kids get older. There's different schedules when it comes to, when the kids are actually all with you all together. But what are the things that you can do together? Maybe it's just a dinner a month where you're all sitting down together. Or maybe if you can do it every week or multiple times a week, awesome. But what are those things where you can talk about your day together? Maybe it's a tradition at the holidays that you start to do. And sometimes it doesn't actually have to be all together. I definitely think there needs to be those moments where you're all together. But what about the times when it's just you and, two of the kids, or you and your stepchild? What are those traditions that the kids are seeing that you are committed to doing on a regular basis? Because those are the things that also help really strengthen that foundation that you want to have, and that make the kids feel so secure, because it's something that they learn to expect and know it is there, that love and that support and that caring, that empathy. Those are like the top 5 things. I know there's so many things that fall underneath all of those, but within each of those, you'll know as you open up the conversation. I mean, just like with the first one, how you're going to continue to make your relationship a priority. We did a podcast on boundaries, and instilling those boundaries is going to be something. And so you know what those things are for you. You know what those things are that make you feel like a priority. You know what those things are if you're communicating with your spouse that are going to make him feel like a priority. So something, specific things are going to fall under each of these categories. The same thing when it comes to the kids feeling safe and secure. Number 2 is talk to them about that and their ages. That's going to be a whole different thing too, because different ages are going to require different things. Does it mean, I know that for them to feel secure, they need to, when they're at my house, call their mom every night before bedtime, whatever it is. Like, just know that you two are on board with all of those things so that there's nobody getting annoyed and nobody getting frustrated. Know the finances, know what your living situation is going to be, and what you are consistently going to do as a family to build tradition. I hope that these are super helpful for you as they were for us. The more that you can be clear on those things before blending, the smoother it can be. And also when those storms do come, it's so much easier to navigate. All right, thanks guys. Short but sweet episode. I hope you got a lot out of it. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to our podcast. You know what they say, if you can't find what you're looking for, then you need to create it. So that's what we did.
Yep, I scoured the internet and looked for the tribe that spoke to me, and I just couldn't find the community that was raw, vulnerable, and really wanting to make a change to the millions of families like ours. So I decided to create it. It took about one conversation for my husband to say, I'm in, and here we are.
But it takes listeners like you to keep it alive.
So please, if you like this, write a review, take a screenshot, share it on your social media. Tell people, it means the world to us.
Remember to email us. We would love to hear from you.
And please share this with someone you love.
And be bold enough to share it with someone that you don't.